the jumping off point for the film was, as opposed to other movies, in the last like 5 years or so, I've watched a lot of the Western shows from the 60s, like The Virginian or Big Valley, Bonanza, High Chaparral, those shows. And I found myself in particularly watching ones that are either directed by episodic television directors that I'm a fan of, but in particular I'd watched the episodes that had really cool, interesting guest stars that I really liked. And then I started noticing that if you had a big guest star on the show, like an Andrew Prine or a Charles Bronson or James Coburn or Robert Culp, if they were the guest star of an episode of Gunsmoke, that episode was not usually about James Arness. It was about Robert Culp. It was about the guest star. And if William Shatner was the star of an episode of The Virginian, the story would be about his arc. And usually, in a situation, these guest stars are usually they're a stranger to both the story and even the town. And they come in, and you don't know much about them. And then at some point in time in the episode, a history, a past about them is revealed. And that usually paints a slightly different picture than maybe what you had thought of about these characters before. And you usually didn't know, are they an antagonist or are they a protagonist? They're usually, you couldn't quite trust them. And usually the thrust of the story was finding out, are they a good guy or are they a bad guy? But you didn't know until towards the end. Well, that type of character became very interesting to me. And I go, well, what if I took 8 of those characters and I don't have a Trampus in the form of Doug McClure. I don't have a Little Joe in the form of Michael Landon. I don't have a good guy character in the piece. I don't have a moral center. I don't have somebody you can gravitate towards that you know is who he says he is and is trustworthy. All these characters in the Hateful Eight are untrustworthy. That actually is one of the links that they have together. And to put those characters in one room and trap them in that one room with a blizzard that is almost like a monster in a monster movie, that if they did try to leave, it would devour them. And then they just have to deal with each other. Then to add a slice of Americana to the whole thing, I make a black cavalry officer. And then I make another, the son of a Quantrell Raider type of rebel renegade. And then I make one a Confederate general. And then I add a bunch of other nefarious characters in there. And then just kind of basically stew the pot and see where it goes.